Welcome to the Critically Clueless. I'm the Monk, and today, ahead of the release of Cyberpunk, I wanted to talk to you everyone about The Witcher 3. Now this is kind of like a review on Witcher 3. I know that I'm incredibly late to the game on this, but I'm really excited for Cyberpunk, and because of that, recently I've been replaying Witcher 3. And this is my thoughts on the game and why I think this is possibly the best RPG that I've ever played. Now this was released all the way back in 2015. That is 5 years old. 5 years is a massive amount of time in the video game industry, but yet the graphics still hold up today. Now, this was developed by CD Projekt Red, and I've got to say, this was the first game in the series that I ever played. I never played The Witcher 1 or Witcher 2, but when I saw Witcher 3 release on Xbox One, I was hooked. I went out straight away. I brought my copy. I played it. I was like, oh my god, this game is so big. I don't have the time. True story. I spent over 50 hours in that game and I barely scraped the surface. Honestly, it was too big for me at the time. I've come back. I've replayed it in 2020. And I'm not disappointed. I wish that I'd given it its full run through when I very first ever picked up this game. Now, honestly, this is one of the biggest games I've ever played, and it shows the level of detail that they've really gone into in this game. I mean, this game is so detailed that every piece of dialogue, it actually has you. It doesn't seem to be spammed into the game. Everyone's voiced. I never really heard too many repeating voice actors. Now, they say that this is a 70-hour run through. Now, to give you some context, Obsidian recently released a game called Outer Worlds. Now, that game can be speedrun in 20 minutes. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a very good game. I like the game. I've played it myself. I've completed it twice, I believe, maybe 3 times. This game's world record for speedrun is 25 hours, people. That's right, The Witcher 3 cannot be completed in less than 25 hours. That is insane to think about in today's gaming market. I myself recently completed this game, just the basic game, not the DLCs, in over 100 hours. That's how much playtime I played. Obviously, I've done a lot of side quests as well, but I didn't try and mark every single thing on the map. I didn't do every single side quest. You know, I just played the game how I wanted, and whatever caught my attention. I had a little look, you know. This game does an amazing job of letting you just discover your own journey. And the choices that you make in this game have real consequences, because there are 36 different endings to this game. That's right, 36 different endings. Just let that sink in for a second, because I've played RPGs of modern era, like Assassin's Creed Odyssey. You know, the choices, the supposed choices that you have in that game, they really don't matter. They do not matter. You know, in this game, the things you choose actually matter to the storyline, to how it's going to end. This is a totally replayable. Now, when I say totally replayable, I don't know. I don't have 100 hours to put into this game as many times as I would like to put into this game. You know, I've just completed it for the first time. This is my second playthrough of the game. And I'll probably play it and pick it up again. Most definitely. It's definitely a game that I could see myself playing again. And also, another point on the detail of this game. This game has a mini game in it called Gwent that was so successful that it became its own separate side game. Again, that is crazy. You know, you're talking about something that hasn't really happened, to my knowledge, in any game ever before. You know, sometimes these side games back in like Final Fantasy VIII, for instance, you know, they're so good. Sometimes they just get you and you just really, really enjoy it, you know? And Gwent's definitely one of those games for me. Really did enjoy that game. Now, Witcher 3 also has a love story, which is probably one of the greatest love stories in any game that I've played in recent times. The big decision, Yennefer or Triss. Who do you decide? Well, it's completely up to you. That's the point of this game. Everything you do is up to you. And for once, this is also a game that wasn't made for kids. Now, I'm not saying that games shouldn't be made for kids, but I think in today's market, game developers tend to like put in a 12 rating on most games just so that way they can maximize their audience, or a 15 for instance. But this game was truly made for adults. It was given an 18 rating, and with the gameplay that you can see in this game, it's definitely warrants that rating. And it's nice that, you know, game developers target a game for an adult audience, a mature audience. And it really didn't impact this game's selling factor. I mean, in 2019, The Witcher 3 had sold 28 million copies, more than that. Now that's insane and completely staggering, to be honest with you. And it definitely shows, because this game is probably the greatest RPG I've ever played. And the reason for that is the level of detail that they actually put into this game. And honestly, I'm grateful. I had a fantastic time playing this game, and I would strongly recommend anyone who's waiting for Cyberpunk to come out to give this game a go, just so they can all see what CD Projekt Red are actually capable of doing. And if The Witcher 3 is any indication of how Cyberpunk is going to be, I'm really excited. In fact, just graphically alone, it's going to be a big upgrade. But I, for one, hope that they continue where they left off with Witcher 3 into Cyberpunk. I really do. I'm very excited, and I can strongly recommend anyone to pick up and play this game. Now, it is currently on Game Pass, so again, anyone that's got Game Pass, give this game a go. It's worth your time. I understand if you haven't got 100 hours to play it. You know, apparently there's over 200 hours of story content within that game if you wish to actually go and choose it and actually find that gameplay for yourself. So if you really want to, and that is just the game, that's not the DLCs. And one of those DLCs is so big it might as well be another 50 hours at least extra gameplay. But yeah, if you haven't played this game, give it a go. If you've got a couple of hours, just have a little play, become a Witcher, a monster hunter, and see what you think. But I have been TheMonk, and we have been the Critically Clueless. If you've enjoyed this video, give us a like, give us a subscription, and drop something in the comments. Tell me your thoughts on this game. Currently, there are only 6% of all viewers actually subscribed. So if you're not subscribed, hit that button. It helps us out really much, and we appreciate all you guys. But final thoughts on this game is I will give it an 8 out of 10. I strongly recommend anyone that hasn't played it to give it a go. It's a great game, and you will not be disappointed. But once again, I'm TheMonk, and I will catch you again soon.
You suspected right. Horson was not the ideal partner in crime.
Damn simpleton got it in his head that we cheated him and kidnapped Dudu.
Who you promptly freed only to have to flee to Temple Isle. Great idea.
We hadn't planned it. Had no time to consider, we just bolted. I didn't even realize the guardsmen were driving me into a trap. Suddenly there I was, and I knew I had to disappear. At once.